morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you wherever and whenever you are joining us. Welcome to a special edition of What Caught My Eye, or WCME Sports. As always, I'm your host, the coach Nick Vesci, joined by the boy Stephen Vesci. And tonight we are lucky to be joined with the pride of Loudoun County High School and Rutgers University, current defenseman for the New York Atlas of the PLL, Mr. Michael Rexrode. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, boys. Pumped to be here.
We are super stoked. This is cool. Yeah, again, love the shout out to our hometown. Love the Rutgers thing, which we're getting to in a second. But I first wanted to ask you, like, where it all got started for lacrosse. Like, was lacrosse your first sport? Like, how did you get into this sport?
Yeah, I do love talking about this because I feel like, making it to the pro level, it might not be the most common story, especially being from the Northern Virginia area where lacrosse is like kind of a more popular sport, I guess. I started playing baseball, grew up playing baseball, football, basketball, and got to 8th grade, and I was doing the whole travel circuit with baseball, doing the doubleheaders on Sundays, doing all that stuff. As you guys know, I think Steven, I know you were a baseball guy. Nick, I would assume it's the same with you.
I was better than him.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm sure you guys were both better than me. So 8th grade came around and I tried out for the Babe Ruth team, like the Babe Ruth World Series team, and ended up not making that. And one of my buddies I'd been playing baseball with for years, he was kind of two-timing with lacrosse and baseball. He was playing two sports up until he had to pick one. He just picked baseball for like a couple years. And he decided he's going to go back and play lacrosse. And he was like, hey, man, I'm going to go play lacrosse. I think you'd be pretty decent at it. You should give it a shot. Shout out Sean Rogers and the Rogers family. Him and his dad kind of hooked me up with a stick and, whatever extra gear they had laying around, kind of showed me the ropes, and tried out for the Western Loudoun team. Ended up knowing some of the coaches through like football. I'd played against their sons for years in football, so they kind of knew who I was, and were like, in basketball too, and they kind of knew who I was, and they're like, all right, he stinks at lacrosse, but he's a decent athlete, so we could probably develop him. So I was able to make the A team, which was fortunate, and I just fell in love with it from there. And got to high school my freshman year, played JV, and then ended up going varsity after that. And yeah, I just fell in love with the game. Just kind of became like my passion. I originally picked it up. My mom convinced me to give it a shot. Really, I know I said my buddy introduced me to it, but my mom convinced me to actually try it. She was like, it's a great cross-training sport for football. And one of our neighbors up the road, Teddy Orison, I don't know if you remember that Loudoun County name. But he had played lacrosse and football, and I was like, Teddy's a big guy. He's strong. He's good at football. I'll give it a shot.
Teddy's one of my
kind
best
of
friends.
ended up running with it.
One of the loyal listeners, actually.
My mom, I gotta give my mom all the credit for honestly convincing me to do it as a cross training. So yeah, and that was the start of it, I guess.
Yeah, I love that's how it got started with you, because the boy knows this. I played a year of lacrosse, very similar of how I played my year of lacrosse with you, right? Our parents
still
kind
with
of
you guys.
convinced
I
me to give
think
it
I might
try.
be losing you here.
Oh, I'll be back.
Awesome.
And that'll do it for us.
There it is. Oh, where did I lose you guys?
No, you were talking about Teddy. And
okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
But yeah, I love that's how you got into it, because I played a year, 8th grade, with Western Loudoun.
I did the same
lacrosse team, and it was kind of like, it just tried out, and I actually loved it. And just when it came time like get to high school, and because of the season that lacrosse is in with baseball, I had to make a choice, and that was actually a difficult choice for me, because like you said, it's great cross training for football. Most of our lacrosse team in high school was the football team.
Right.
I tell it to kids that I see now and I coach, and I'm like, hey, lacrosse is new down where I am in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Lacrosse is very new at a public school level. I was like, hey, you guys play football. You're doing nothing in the spring. Try it out. Like, this is so many transferable skills go into lacrosse, and you can take those skills and develop them into what you're doing, and you never know. Like, you never know what can happen if you try.
100%. And I found, like, right away, I actually found that football is an obvious, like, it's a physical sport, it's easy, like, makes sense why it would translate. I found that basketball actually helped me with lacrosse more than football did, because it's very similar, like, schematically, very similar, like, athletically. You really got to move like a basketball player. the better basketball players I have found pick up lacrosse a lot faster than football players. I mean, football players make great lacrosse players too, but just kind of goes back to your point that, it's a great sport that kind of has similar skills to so many other sports that a lot of kids who play one sport don't play something in the spring. It's an honestly easier transition than I think a lot of people think, even though it is kind of a weirder sport and kind of really unique in a lot of ways.
I think I like the basketball thing. I could see it because I always thought like a midi. I mean, when you were at a younger age, like a midi running through felt like a fast break in basketball, and then
Oh
you
yeah,
had a half court set pretty much.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. The biggest difference is you have an extra guy on the field and you can go behind the goal. That's like, other than that, basketball is so similar, especially with like help defense specifically, or even just defensive technique. You got to move your feet a lot, try to get your body in the right position. It's a lot of angles, this and that. You got picks on and off ball. You
Like a
can
hybrid of
shoot.
like basketball and hockey a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like from a schematic standpoint, that's exactly what it is. So yeah, I coached for a while too, and I found I would always try to pick up the basketball players as well as football players. But yeah, I just find lacrosse is just a great like melting pot of skill sets that so many sports can kind of relate to.
Yeah. How did you become a defenseman? Like, was it a thing where when you tried out, they're like, "Oh, we need a defenseman who's willing to do it," and you stuck your hand up, or did you just like wind up finding your fit?
It was more that defensemen didn't need to handle the ball as much. When I first started playing, they were like handing me a stick, and I was just like, it's just such a foreign thing. You're like trying to catch the ball on the end of a stick that's on the end of your arm, and it's just like that much more coordination. So they were like, you know what? The less he has to handle the ball, the better for him right now. So I just like never looked back, and I would say it's probably still true in my game today that like the less I have to handle the ball, the better it is for everybody. But yeah, so I think it's probably just like it was easier to kind of speed up the learning curve on the defensive end of the ball. It's just like more athletic, less skill based.
Out
Exactly,
to the
exactly. They're
sideline.
like, yes, yeah, get the ball. If you get the ball, get it to someone who knows what to do with it, and then get off the field.
Yes, which is another very basketball thing to do, right, boy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
get it to the outlet. Yep. Find your card, get it to the outlet, and go.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
so how'd you played your college ball at Rutgers? How'd you wind up at Rutgers? Just, I mean, not
Yeah,
like what are you doing there, but I mean, like, what went into that process? Like, how did you wind up settling on Rutgers as your choice?
yeah. I mean, the recruiting process was kind of a crazy thing back when I was getting recruited because they didn't have any rules on like when you could reach out to guys. So there were guys committing like eighth grade year going into freshman year. They were committing to all these great D1 schools, and I'm like, I didn't even know what like I was still learning the game. I was playing JV ball my freshman year, and people were committing to college already. So I got to be a sophomore and just was like loving the game. Then I got to be going into my junior year and ended up trying out for this travel team out of Maryland. It's called Southern Maryland Select. And it's kind of like they were known for more of like we're getting kids recruited, not necessarily like trying to win tournaments, although that was part of it. They just want to get guys to college. And so it's kind of like a shot in the dark, like, all right, let's see if I actually have it. And it was my dad's idea, which thank goodness it was his idea because that was a long drive to practice every weekend. But ended up making that team and getting a little exposure. But at that point, I was going in my junior year. A lot of kids had already committed to all the D1 schools. Getting exposure was one thing, but it was really an issue of like roster availability. So like I'd talk to these schools and they'd be like, "Yeah, we already filled our recruiting class for your year." All right, well that stinks. On to the next one, kind of thing. And the other challenge I ran into was I wanted to go to engineering school. And there weren't a lot of lacrosse programs that also had engineering programs in their school. There's actually more than I thought, but it was more at the D3 level. So that's where I ended up getting most of my looks was like RIT. I loved that recruiting visit. That guy was awesome. He actually, funny side story on him. He was like really good dude. We walked around campus and all that, had like a little day trip, and he was like, I loved watching you play. Would love to get you here. He found out like he somehow stumbled on that I like to hunt and fish. And he loves to hunt and fish too. And he's like, all right, after this meeting, we're gonna go out to my truck real quick. I gotta show you a couple pictures. So we go out to his truck and he's like pulling out pictures of all these big bucks he's killing like around Rochester. And I'm like, man, this guy's the man. This is awesome. I could totally see myself going here. And he's like, all right, I tell you what, if you commit here and come play, I'll take you out hunting at a couple of my spots. I'm like, oh man, this guy's really good. He might have me. And but yeah, so I was kind of pushing for the D3 thing for a while, and ended up going to Nike, like this 3D camp down in Florida, which was like a stepping stone to get to the Nike Blue Chip camp, which was like the top recruiting camp at the time. So I went to the Florida camp, and I thought there were going to be a lot of coaches there. So it was going to be like, oh, even if I don't make it to Nike Blue Chip, like at least I'll be in front of coaches. There were no coaches. It was literally just like another camp out there. Just my dad and I. We were like filling up, ice baths in the hotel room, like the hotel ice, and for like nobody. But ended up playing well enough that they invited me to Nike Blue Chip, and I was kind of a year past like the prime for my recruiting class. So, like a lot of the guys who got recruited D1 had gone like 2 years prior. So I got to Nike Blue Chip, and there was like a mixed bag of guys who were still trying to like maybe pick up like a D3 look. And then there's like a couple guys like myself, my roommate who actually plays in the PLL now, oddly enough. My roommate at the camp, he was kind of falling through the cracks too, coming from like a non-hotbed area. So it was a nice mixed bag. I was able to play really well and kind of got a lot of looks out of that. I say a lot, but it was a lot of more like D3 looks and then like a couple D1. And then Rutgers saw me there, and I had one tournament left that summer before going to my senior year. So it was really my last tournament to get recruited. And Coach Brecht came to one of the games in that tournament. I just happened to play really well that game. He's like, all right, let's make it happen. Let's get you to campus. So swung by campus once while my sister had a tournament in New Jersey, and then went for like an official visit, and that went well enough. And Rutgers had a pretty decent engineering school at the same time. So yeah, kind of got lucky with just the timing of it all. I was lucky that they had availability in the recruiting class, and then it kind of just fit the bill with like school. Yeah, so I think that's a pretty consistent theme in my lacrosse career, is just being a little lucky and good enough at the right time that they will keep playing.
Wasn't that's life though, right? That's like literally anything you do. That is a wild. That's wild. That's crazy. That's pretty amazing. I know, boy, you had, I think, another college question you wanted to
I
ask
did,
him.
yeah. So I was thinking about this. What is the biggest difference from high school to college and college to pro in lacrosse?
Oh, man,
Is it the
I've
speed?
always said that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Actually, it's like at every level you go up, it just gets faster. It's like you go from high school to college, and your first week out there, your head is just spinning. You're like, what is going on? This is not the same sport I've been playing. And then you go to the pros, it's even faster than that. And it's actually funny because when I played in high school and college, there's no shot clock. Like you could hold the ball all day as long as you like made an attempt to goal, which is like super subjective based on the ref, and depending on your ref, they could let you stand out there the whole game. So like it was kind of a slow, methodical game. And I get to the pro game, and now all of a sudden we have this shot clock. It's like a 60-second shot clock. So the game's totally different. People are taking shots that you wouldn't necessarily see in college because they're like riskier shots that have a lower percentage chance, but they're taking them because there's 3 seconds left on the shot clock. They're like, might as well, right? So it's like more of an all or nothing mentality. Yeah. So like the speed was just totally different. There's an adjustment period at every level, and that I find is what actually separates the guys who are like able to play and who kind of fall by the wayside. It's like you go from high school to college, everyone, and this is at every level, I guess, after high school, it's like everyone was the best player on their team the year before, right? It's like you get there, it's like, all right, everyone's all district, everyone's player of the year, everyone's all, high school All-American, and then you go play against everyone else, and it's like, all right, now everyone's moving at a different speed. Some of these guys have been here for 3 years. They've been like grinding, these guys have been playing at this level for 3 years. Now you have to adjust and, sink or swim kind of thing. And then you get to the pro game, and it's even more, seems to be more the case that you show up and some of these guys have been playing for 10 years and they're reconnecting again.
You're good. We still got
Are
you.
you good? Yeah, we still got you.
Got you. Oh, maybe not.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Like,
I think I'm back on. All right, where'd I lose you that time?
It was just showing up to these from like high school to college and seeing, these guys, like everyone's an All-American in high school or whatever, and then you get to college and realize that everyone else was too, right?
Yeah.
There was someone who I think we know. I think it was Renzi. Remember Brock Batman? His
Oh
said that
yeah.
he played at Minnesota for Lou Holtz, and he said the same exact thing where everyone was an All American in high school, and you get to college and you have this freshman mini camp, and everyone's a badass and does this. And he
Mhm.
goes, and then all of a sudden the men show up. And he goes, and then you're not,
Yeah.
you're a nobody now.
That's exactly it, man. There's like that welcome to the league moment at every
Yeah,
level. You like go to pick up a ground ball, you're used to being the fastest guy out there, and then you like just have your head down, you just get smoked by someone who's faster than you. You're like, where did that guy even come from, man? So yeah, yeah. Luckily, I'm on the point of my career now where I'm on the right end of those hits where I get to catch the guy who's not looking quite as well, but or he doesn't have his head on a swivel yet.
Yes.
But you earn your stripes early, and then you stick with it long enough, you get to dish out a couple hits on your own.
hell yeah.
So
Yeah,
you brought up kind of like where you are in your career and like on your team, the Atlas. You guys have like this mix, right? You've got guys like you who have you're like almost a grizzled veteran now, right? And then you've
yeah,
got these young guns like some of my Wahoos, like the Peyton Cormiers and the Connor Schellenbergers of the world. Young guys who just blew it up in college starting. And then you got, like, you guys just got CJ Costabile, who's,
hmm
as grizzled and battle tested as you could get out there. So with that mix, like, how does that play into like that championship formula of having that mix of different like mindsets, different places in your career, as opposed to everyone's a
Did I
veteran,
lose you guys
everyone's young?
again? Oh,
With the Wi-Fi in Charleston, South Carolina.
Well, yeah, who needs Wi-Fi? They just go outside. It's beautiful.
Those look nice. Back. Can you hear us?
oh, I got you now.
Yeah.
All right, I got
Yeah. So
you.
I
I
was
got you right up until you asked the question after you're talking about our grizzled vet CJ.
Yeah, so I was just asking, like, how does that mix of like, experience levels translate into like winning games and winning championships?
Yeah, I think well first off, you guys know ball. I'm impressed. I honestly think it's super important to have a mix. Like you got to have guys who are these young guys. I mean, these young guys are coming out of college and they're faster, stronger, more skilled every year, they're just flying around. Um and they have all the skill sets to make like a really good team, a great team, in fact. But you need those veterans too to like teach them the game, which sounds weird because again you're talking about like Connor Schellenberger, who was an incredible player. These guys who just put up huge numbers in college, you would be like, all right, they probably have this figured out. Well, then they get to the pro game, and again that speed aspect kind of comes into play. The game kind of changes. It's different mentality. It takes like a little bit of a veteran mentality and experience level to kind of teach them and bring them up to speed a little bit more. I mean, so I think our team is built kind of perfectly from that aspect in that we have some older guys. Honestly, I think we're a pretty young team. Say we just picked him up, so maybe that moves our average to the latter end of the spectrum here. But I think having guys who have been through it all, who can kind of bring these young guys up to speed, let them know what it's all about. Hey, I used to make that mistake too, but here's how you can kind of correct that and make the play better or make a better play moving forward. I think that it really helps bring those young guys up, especially as a rookie. It's like they just got out of a 4-month season, so they were kind of like they were just firing on all cylinders. Their season just ended. They don't really have time to decompress, so they're kind of still playing that college ball, and they're like, mentality wise, like it kind of takes an older guy to like lock them back in, like, hey, we're getting after this, like let's go get it. Here's how you're gonna do it, and they can kind of turn their not. I don't want to say they have to turn their brain off, but they can kind of look to another guy and like not have to be the guy all the time anymore. So I do think it helps from that aspect too. It like takes a little bit of the pressure off of these young guys who've been carrying the load, and now they got to go play for a new team that they after just playing their hearts out in the playoffs or whatever. So yeah, I do think that our team is built really well in that aspect. And then we have a lot of young guys who can run and gun, and then we have some guys who have more experience. And then the last couple of years, our young guys have grown up. We have the Gavin Adlers, Brett Makar, like Xander Dixon. Those guys were, 2 years ago, they're rookies, they're young guys. Last year, they took another year to like, they got better, they got more experience. And then like the third, fourth year, like they're those to me those were the best years of my career. I think so when I came out and like ready to play, I just kind of still had that young like refreshed legs still can move, pretty fast. But my mind was kind of already caught up to the game too. So I think we're kind of poised for having a really good season, just with like the guys we have coming back, the experience we have coming back, and then the new guys we just picked up. I think we're ready to roll. I can't wait, honestly, to see how we turn up at camp.
Yeah. How big of an impact is getting a guy like CJ Costabile? Came over from the Chaos. Obviously, like you said, the Atlas pretty much had an established troop. There's not that many new faces coming in besides the draft. But how does bringing in a guy like Costabile like impact not just the play on the field, but everything around the team?
Yeah, CJ is a guy who has like been there, done that kind of guy, like college national championship. We all remember that iconic play to win it. And then you go to the pros. He's been part of so many teams. He's been a bruising kind of defender who's going to hack your arms off, and then he's kind of had to mature his game as he goes. He's been a part of a ton of different teams, and he's seen what's worked and what hasn't worked from like a culture perspective, which goes a long ways in the pro game with how you don't see each other that often. Like the culture you have with each other does make a difference, because you don't have a lot of time to like not get along and then figure it out. You kind of have to like get along, or at least understand your role well enough that you're going to contribute to the team and like go out and perform. So having a guy like CJ, he can really help you kind of iron out those details and kind of drive home that culture. And he can bring a different perspective and be like, hey, I've been doing this for how many years have you been doing this? 20 at this point. I feel like he's been around forever. But yeah, he can offer that perspective of like, hey, this is what's worked on every good team I've been a part of. Here's what has not worked and what's kind of pulled some or held some teams back that I've been a part of. Let's focus on the right things here and make sure we're doing everything right that we can and control what we can to keep winning games. Yeah, I'm excited to have him. I know I've been watching him play on a different team for years, and he's still, every year he pulls off some of those plays. You're just like, how did that just happen? It's like scoring crazy goals or throwing crazy checks. So yeah, I'm excited to see how he fits in our culture, because we do have a good core group of guys on our team, but there's always room for guys to contribute, and I think he can definitely bring like some good veteran knowledge and perspective that, like I said, we're a young team, so having another vet in the locker room is not going to hurt.
I love it. So you've been teammates with Trevor Baptiste and Jeff Teat for several years now, and Baptiste, arguably the greatest face-off man ever, and Teat just came off of shattering the points record in the PLL to win MVP. What's it like getting to see those guys work day in and day out? And how does, especially with you being a defenseman and Teat attacking all the time, how does going against those guys in practice help you prepare for your opponents?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Trevor. I'll say it. He's the best face-off guy that's ever played. He's the GOAT. The best part about Trevor is if you talk to him, you would never know that about him. It's like, he'll talk to you about it, obviously, and he loves interacting with fans and all that, but he's so humble and he's always working. He's working his tail off. He's always bringing up his teammates. He's a great guy to have at practice, in the locker room. He's just always a good vibe. And I've always told people this, like all my buddies who ask about, oh, what's Trevor Baptiste like? Is he really like how he is, like in his interviews and stuff? I'm like, he's actually even goofier than what you see on TV. Like, that's not a fake Trevor. Like, actually multiply that, and that's what you get in the locker room. So all the good stuff you see about him, I can't speak highly enough about Trevor. He's a great friend of mine, and it's been amazing watching him play. And it's like, honestly, it's like such a relief having him on our team, because sometimes we'll have this like super long defensive possession. I'm just gassed. Whether they score or we score in transition, I'm like, man, I hope we win. I don't really have to hope, It's like, Trevor's going to win. I'm going to get another 52 seconds to catch my breath here, and we'll be all right. So, having a guy like Trevor, he can just like totally tilt the field in your favor. It's pretty amazing, and we're fortunate to have him for sure. And then, you talked about Jeff T. He's the best player in the world right now. It's funny, because if you see Jeff without his pads on, you wouldn't really know. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, I bet he's the best lacrosse player walking around, He just like, he doesn't necessarily like look the part, but then when you practice against him and you get to play with him, you get to kind of understand the genius level that he's operating on. Like, he sees the game differently. He understands the game differently. He moves differently off ball. Like, he plays so many mind games with you, especially like if you're covering him, it is hard just to stay with him and like move and operate and think at the same level he does. Like he's just doing things that nobody else does. I mean, joke about this story sometimes. I played in the Fall Classic for Team USA a few years ago, and we were playing against Team Canada, and I was guarding Jeff. I'm like, I know this guy. He's my teammate. I practice against him all the time. I know his tricks. I'm playing pretty well, and he goes and sets a pick on my teammate. So I'm like telling my teammate, his name was Zach Goodrich. We're calling him Goody, while we're playing. So I'm like, Goody, you got to pick left. Goody, pick left. And then T starts yelling, Goody, switch, Goody, switch, Goody, switch. Like he's calling the switch for me. And I'm like, and I like can't tell him no. I'm like, no, Goody, don't do that. Goody switches. And now Jeff Teat has a matchup on a short stick, which is what he's looking for the whole time. So he gets the ball, he goes to the rack and scores immediately. And I'm just like, Goody looks at me, he's like, why did we switch that? I'm like, I don't know, man. It was his idea, not mine. And like that's the kind of guy you're dealing with Jeff Teat. He just plays a different game that nobody else is doing. He doesn't play it straight up. Like he's gonna play these mind games with you, and that's what makes him so effective. And yeah, he's amazing to watch. Every game I feel like Jeff T's doing something crazy that I'm like, I've never seen that before. Like that's on him. It's another one for his highlight reel. I mean, when he scores as many goals as Jeff T does, you're gonna have a few that land on the highlight reel, but I feel like all of his go on the highlight reel. It's crazy.
So I know last year you guys finished with the best record in the league, but then fell to Whip Snakes first round of playoffs, and Archers wound up winning title for second straight year. What's it going to take to unseat the Archers?
Yeah, I think the Archers are a great team, and they didn't really lose anybody this year. If anything, they've kind of added a couple pieces to their team. So, they're going to be a tough battle for sure. They have, talking about veterans, they have guys who have won it. Like their whole team has won one, if not two championships now. So they have it pretty. They know what it's going to take to get there. I do think we have an edge at certain places on the field. I feel like when we play our best game, we are the best team in the league. The problem is that we've had is being consistent. And last year you saw that it was like we'd be on a roll. We, came out of the gate super hot, played really well for the first half of the season. And then we started having bye weeks, and you take a week off, you don't see your teammates for 2 weeks, and then you come back and we'd lose that game. And then we'd come back and win the next one. Then we go on a bye and lose the next one. Then we come back and win the next one. It was just kind of like, we couldn't really get our momentum back in the second half of the season. And I think, part of that is probably something to do with the bye week. And then part of that is probably just being mature enough to handle the bye week. So I really think our guys getting another year older, because again, that's something you don't have to handle in college, right? It's like you're playing every day in college. If you don't have a game on the weekend, you're still practicing. In the pro game, if you don't have a game that week, like you don't practice with a team. You're on your own. You got to figure it out. So, and that's like honestly a skill you have to learn is like how to work out, how to train on your own. Like how do I practice and still be effective on game day? So, and that comes with experience. So that's like a whole challenge that I think goes that nobody really talks about because everyone wants to, try to promote lacrosse as being like a next legitimate sport. And it's hard to do that while your players aren't practicing every day. But it's honestly a real deal. It's a real thing, So I think having a little more experience on our end, I think helps us more than it's going to help them because I think all their guys, they have a pretty experienced roster already. So I think the learning curve's a little steeper for us right now. I think if we can kind of show up and just be a little more consistent in how we prepare, how we play on game day, I think that's going to give us an edge. I mean, last year when we played them, it didn't ever feel like we were rolling over them and like crushing them, but it definitely like the whole game I felt like we were in control of it. It was a tighter game at times, but I just never felt like we were at risk of losing it for some reason. It's kind of one of those like feel things while you're on the field. So I think we match up well with them. I think there's other teams in the league that might make another push this year. I think the Water Dogs are going to be a really good team, picking up CJ Kurse. I think their coach this being his second year, having a year under his belt. I mean, it's adjustment for coaches too, going from college to pro. I think that I think they're going to be a really good team. So, and that's how this league is. You got to show up every weekend or you're going to get beat. And I think that's what I think our team can improve on most is being more consistent and showing up every week. And I think, the pieces will fall into place. The Archers will obviously circle the defending champs, but we stick to our process. I think we'll beat anybody.
I love it. Give us a guy for you guys that's primed for a breakout this season.
Got us.
Hey, you still got us? Did you hear it?
I'll ask it again.
Yeah. Okay. So I asked, give us a guy on Atlas who's primed for a breakout this season.
Guys primed for a breakout. Oh man, I feel like we have so many. I think Connor Schellenberger is gonna. I mean, he had a great year last year, but I think he's gonna really go off this year. I think Liam Entenmann, it being his second year in the league, he had a whole off season to kind of rest up and like get himself better, healthy, and let the bruises heal for a second. I think he's gonna go off. Honestly, I think our defense is going to be solid. We have a lot of guys coming back. I think Gavin Adler, he's been such a stud for us, the last couple seasons. Year 3 and year 4, I think Gavin and Brett Makar, I think those two guys are going to have phenomenal years. I just know. I talk to them all the time, so I know they've been putting the work in and preparing, and I think they just have a healthy mentality getting ready for the season. Kind of all 3 of us are talking today, even that we're all having the itch to play again, and we just can't wait to get to training camp. So breakout season from him. I'm excited to see what comes out of our midfield this year. I think there's a lot of question marks there. Doc Aiken isn't playing because he's trying to do football. That's something he's been wanting to do for a long time, and he finally has a chance to kind of get back on the field. So he's going to be playing football. So that leaves a little bit of a gap in our midfield. We have a ton of guys who kind of like nobody's ever going to replace Doc Aiken. He's just like a freak athlete who can do things that nobody else on the planet can do. But we kind of put together a bunch of pieces that could maybe kind of like create him in the aggregate, not to get too Moneyball on you, but I thought you guys might.
Yeah,
but
hold on.
yeah.
Oh, there it is. There's the Moneyball.
Nice. There you go. Perfect. Well, it's the same thing, it's like you got all these guys with different skill sets coming in. We picked up a couple midfielders who I think, 3 midfielders who I think could help fill that void a little bit. So the midfield, somebody's going to pop off in the midfield. I don't know who it's going to be, but I can't wait to see who it is. Yeah, and then I mean that's the exciting part is we got guys at every position right now who I feel like are primed up to have like career defining seasons, and I think that's why it's so exciting to be part of this team right now. Is we're just like we're just loaded up, ready to go, and I feel like last year was like a nice little teaser for our potential. But this year was our young guys growing up a little bit more. I don't know if there's a better opportunity. I felt better going into a season than I do right now, as far as like how the team looks on paper. So we'll have to see it all come together on the field. But there's so many guys that I think who are going to contribute that. I don't know how you're going to scout us. To be honest, it's like I don't know who you circle. It's like. So, yeah.
I know who they circle. Michael Rexrode. That's who they circle.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Stay away from that guy.
The boy had a question for you.
I do. As a defenseman, how fun is it to yell "midi back"? And how often do you get to do that? Especially, I'm sure in college you probably did it a little bit, but in the pros maybe not so much. But how fun is it to yell "midi back"?
I'm lagging on you guys again. Good thing I'm not a gamer,
Oh, no.
man. I can't get a connection to stay solid here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Did you even ask that again? Did you get it?
I can hear you okay. I can't see you, though.
Okay. That's fine. As a defenseman, how fun is it to yell "midi back"?
Midi back? I don't know, man. God, for me, it's kind of terrifying. But, man. But yeah, I don't know, man. I've been shooting on some PLO goalies down here in Charleston. My buddy Matt DeLuca from the Water Dogs, he'll come out and let me shoot on him for a little bit, and he's been gassing me up. I don't know if he's like hustling me and like hoping I run it over and shoot it on him, and so he just gets an easy save, or if he's like being for real that I can actually shoot the ball. But we're gonna find out. I'm gonna test it at some point, and we're gonna see if it's the real deal or not. But yeah. I mean, my coaches give me a hard time. They're like, Rex, you don't cross the midline. I'm like, you guys don't give me a chance. Let me go, get a couple runs, and we'll see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, I won't do it again.
I love it. You never know until you try, right?
Exactly.
You never know.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I had what was it was it last season or 2 seasons ago? 2 seasons ago, I moved me up to LSM and I scored my first goal in the pro game, and then the next game I scored my second goal in the pro game, and then they put me back down on defense. All I'm saying is you give the guy a shot, maybe I surprise you again. Keep losing, you guys.
No, it's all good. I think we can still hear you. Now I
Yeah, we
can't
got
see you.
Can't see it.
Oh, there we go.
That Charleston Wi-Fi, man.
Boy, did you have another question before we get into the last one?
Yeah, I'll do one more. Your favorite away city to play in, college or pro? Not sure if he's there.
No, maybe not.
Maybe not.
I do like that. I like that question.
All right. Yeah.
All right, I got you again. Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on.
Charleston and Wi-Fi is a little slower than.
Yeah, man, it's
And the
down here in the
Midland.
low country. They're not about the high-speed internet. Everyone talks slow and the internet's slow.
Yep. Exactly. All right. The question is favorite
Let me go
away.
inside real quick.
I got you.
Get a better
Yeah,
connection.
you're good.
The dog's gonna maul me, but
This would be the perfect time if we had commercials. We'll take a commercial break.
all right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you. All right, there we go.
Yeah, all right. All right. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi doesn't go out on my deck.
All right, your favorite away city to play in, college or pro?
Oh man, favorite city. I love playing in Denver. I played there in the MLL. I played for the Outlaws for is it 3 seasons? Yeah, or no, it's 2 seasons. In 2019, we got to do it all. I mean, we were playing a ton of games. I think we played like 15 games, and half of them were at home. So I got to know the city pretty well. We would go out and do all kinds of stuff after the games, and it was just like every time we were there, great time. The food's pretty good, but like, the beers are really good. Yeah, we had a great time there. It was just like, it felt like it was easy to socialize. You had all these, we'd go to Rockies games. They have a great like rooftop bar type such situation. So, and our team was honestly awesome. Like the whole setup, we were owned by the Broncos.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, it was great, and we got to play in Mile High Stadium. So that was cool. And then like the 4th of July game out there, you're pulling in like, I think we had like 28,000 people at that game. So you're playing in front of a big crowd, and you have the backing from the Broncos, and then they would go out and like set you up with fun stuff to do after the game. So maybe I'm a little biased just because I played there for a year and just got to make all those memories. But I feel like now when we still go back, it's still like one of my favorite cities to like hang out in after the game. And then getting more back on the field. The crowd there like just knows lacrosse and they love it. And we play at Peter Barton Stadium, which is Denver's home field, which is
Pioneers.
the Pioneers, exactly. It's a small venue, but the crowd is like right on top of you. Like they're right on the field pretty much. So it's like, it's like 2,500 people there. It's like standing room only, but it feels like a huge crowd just because they're so close. You can hear every word they're saying about you, and it's like, good or bad, it's just fun. I will say the elevation part kind of sucks, but other than that, the rest of it is awesome.
I was gonna ask about the elevation. Like maybe you
Yeah.
thought that was an advantage if you were like in better shape than the other team or something.
Yeah, I wish I could say it was an advantage, but man, it was like if we lived there, it probably would be an advantage. But because we're all like traveling in, it just is like it was honestly just a shock to the system every weekend. If you like, you spend 2 days there acclimating, and then you go right back to your sea level, desk job, and then you go back to mountain high sprints, and it was pretty. Yeah, you don't get used to it.
So I did want to do a little rapid fire here. I'm going to give you 2 choices.
Okay.
Pick one. Don't think. Just go.
Oh
You ready?
boy. Yeah.
Score a goal or assist on a goal.
Score.
Stick check or body check.
Body.
Yes. The only answer. Man or ball.
Man.
Yes. Thank you. New York or New Jersey.
Oh my gosh. That one's tough. All right, you gotta give me more on that one. Are we talking the people or The lacrosse or the food? What are we talking about?
All of it, all the
Oh my
whole
God.
package of all
That is
that
you
stuff
can't
that comes with New Jersey and New
oh my
York.
God. It's like do I pick my mom or my dad? I don't know, man. Ah, shoot. New Jersey, I'll just say this. New Jersey, it's like I've never had more loyal friends in my life. It's like doesn't matter what I do, they will always have my back. New York is just like some of the funniest like characters I've ever met.
Yeah,
Just like the Long Island, New York specifically. It's like this, a lot of this, just like the craziest people I've ever met in my life. That's a different country. Long Island's a different country. It's like Miami, It's like a totally different place.
yes, absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Could I've gone with pork roll or Taylor ham?
Gosh. Probably pork roll.
Pork roll.
I'm kind of split on that one though. I've seen it both. I don't really I don't know. I know what you're talking about. I feel like pork roll's just easier to say. Less
Yeah, see,
syllables maybe.
my father-in-law was really, and he's not from New Jersey, he's from Petersburg, Virginia, right?
Okay.
Old South guy.
Yeah.
First person introduced me to that, and he would call it Taylor pork roll.
Oh
So
my
he would
God.
combine the two,
That's wrong both ways.
be at the ocean or be at a lake.
Ocean. That's where I'm living now.
Yeah, that's true. Talladega Nights or Step Brothers?
Talladega Nights. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
I agree with that.
Agreed as well. Water or Gatorade?
Gatorade. Gotta get the electrolytes.
Don't tell that to the water boy.
Yep.
He
I
might
know.
come
Right?
get you.
Yeah, Bobby Boucher.
Dive bar or fine dining?
Ooh, dive bar for sure.
Yes.
Gotta hang with the boys.
College football or pro football?
College. I like watching college more, I think. It's also easier to watch. There's games on all the time.
We have talked about that on our show
Yeah.
frequently. How you can set up just a quad box on 4 different TVs and watch.
Yeah,
Watch
exactly. And it's on Saturdays too,
Yes.
It's like, a little easier to
drink.
yeah, exactly. Have
Yeah.
a day.
Bacon or sausage?
Man, I was gonna say bacon right away, but I'm not so sure. It depends. I like a sausage, egg, and cheese like breakfast sandwich more than a bacon, egg, and cheese.
I agree with that.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
if you're putting one on a plate with nothing else on, I'll take the bacon.
That's the
Sound
best
theory. Yeah.
answer you've given all night, Michael. Concert or sporting event?
Sporting event.
Morning or night?
I'm a morning guy, right now at least. Depends on the season.
Brewery or winery?
Brewery.
And last one. This is the most important one. I cannot stress that
Okay.
enough.
I'm
Nickelback
excited.
or Creed?
Man, Nickelback, man. I know all the words to those songs.
Yes. I love it. That's all I got there. Boy, anything?
That's I'm not following that. That's great.
Oh, those are great, man. I didn't know what to expect. I was not disappointed.
I'm glad you survived it.
I
Yeah,
wish
me
I
too.
had Nickelback like able to go right now. And
Yeah, on the button.
we're not that. We're not.
No.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Next time.
we don't have those copyright. That's a little copyright infringement there.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us. I know like your season starts in like a week and a half basically. You got a ton of stuff going. Like we talked about before the show, you got engaged, all this awesome things going on for you. Thanks for taking the time to come and waste like an hour with us and shoot it with us. And good luck on the upcoming PLL campaign. And again, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks guys. I had a great time. So thanks for having me on, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you around county one of these days, man.
Absolutely. Our mom still works there.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah, I mean it is a small world. Like a town we came from, it's small but it's also big, and it's like amazing that we get to have and share these things with a lot of different people. But again, thanks so much for coming on our show. Again, if that is Michael Rexrode, the pride of Loudoun County High School, pride of Rutgers University, and current defenseman for New York Atlas of the PLL. Again, thank you so much. Can't stress that enough, like how awesome it was to meet you and have you on our show. Boy, anything before we wrap up?
No, thank you so much for doing this. This has been awesome and great insight to PLL and everything that you've gone through. Like your journey was such a great story. I love that.
Yeah, thank you again. I appreciate it. Thanks for giving me a chance to share. I love talking shop, so the girlfriend can take a break tonight because I got it out with you guys.
The fiance.
Yeah, I was
Oh yeah,
fiance.
fiance.
Gotta get used
Sorry.
to it. Gotta get
Oh
used to
man.
it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten used to that.
And now that's on public record.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble.
So
That's too funny.
that's going to do it for us here with our special edition of What Caught My Eye. As always, remember to follow us on all of our socials at WCME_sports and catch all of our episodes, including our companion shows, WCME Hockey, WCME Basketball, WCME Golf, and soon we will have WCME Soccer. Those will all be on Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. For Michael Rexrode, the boy Stephen Vesci, I am the coach Nick Vesci. Remember to be decent to each other. Have a good one, and we will see you next time. Take care, Guatemala.